As soon as it was announced in 2016, I immediately bought the Disney Castle. As a fan of Lego and Disney, I knew this set would become a landmark, depicting the Cinderella Castle located at Orlando's Disney World. Having been discontinued in the end of 2022, I was somewhat surprised by the announcement of a new version 6 months later, again based on the same attraction of the North American park. The main difference was that it was larger and had new colors. Why? Several reasons. The main culprit was actually the Orlando Park management since it was celebrating its 50th anniversary and the animated Cinderella film itself was celebrating its 70th anniversary. Since the castle colors were becoming quite faded, white doesn't do well in such a sunny area, they decided to do some renovations, including painting it in new colors. As part of the license with the Lego Group and in celebration of the Disney's 100th anniversary, it was decided to also refresh the set, applying the new colors, but also with new and different elements, which I will analyze and compare next. I believe many fans who had the first version said it wouldn't be worth buying this one. I was one of them. But my feeling changed after learning that the Lego designer of this set was the same one that designed the Beauty and the Beast castle and the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs cottage, two sets that I loved building with excellent details. So I decided to give this set a try, and it didn't disappoint me. So let's analyze it and compare it with the previous one. Regarding the minifigures, there are 8, all of them with dual print in their heads, representing 4 couples: Prince Naveen with a cape and yellow epaulettes, and Princess Tiana, the only one who wasn't exclusive of the set, as she appeared in that year's collectible minifigures. She has a tiara, dress, and arms with two-color pattern. The next couple is Prince Florian and Snow White, who were exclusive until they appeared in the Seven Dwarfs Cottage set. The prince has a dark red cape and two colored molded legs with prints on the upper part. Snow White is one of the best figures for me, with dual molded arms with prints on the elbows, and it captures the character expression from the 1947 film, while the inverted cape adds the perfect finishing touch. Next, we have Cinderella and Prince Charming, though it's strange that they never appeared as figures. The princess has dual molded arms because of her gloves, and her tied up hair has two details at the ends to mimic earrings. The prince has golden epaulettes and legs with prints on the feet and sides. Finally, the most recent couple from the 2010 film Tangled, Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. This one has dual molded legs and one of the most mischievous expressions I've ever seen on a figure. And of course, the bag where he kept the stolen crown couldn't be left out. Rapunzel has prints on her arms, and I think she lacks longer hair, and her eyebrows look a bit odd with her hair. 7040 had 5 minifigs, or 7 if we count the 2 knights we found in the hall. We have Donald, the only one who wasn't exclusive, as he was repeated in the collectible minifigures. There's also Daisy Duck, Minnie Mouse in her most iconic red look with white polka dots, and Mickey Mouse in a formal suit. Finally, Tinker Bell, this character's first appearance, although more recently she had appeared in also 2 sets more with different prints and wings. Moving on to the castle itself, if we already discussed the colors, we can see that there are some aesthetic changes, although the main building is quite similar. The most recent set is wider and taller, understandable since it has almost 1000 more elements. The base is quite different, as the previous one featured more grayish colors, and it also has natural elements like water, we even have a bridge, and some greenery. The other big difference is the walls, which are for me much better and more realistic. While in the first castle some patterns were represented with stickers, the new one makes good use of the masonry bricks, alternating with normal bricks. The towers also have more circular and realistic shape, unlike the previous version, which used long, high wedges, which even seemed somewhat fragile. However, the walls towers, if I'm not mistaken, use the same techniques as the previous one, revealing Marcos Bessa's excellent work in executing the first version of the set. Another difference is that on the right, facing the castle, the last tower has a more rectangular shape, something seen in the new version of the castle in Orlando as well. The gate and the entrance tower are very similar. The last one has some additional details such as a dark blue curtain and a tile printed with the castle's coat of arms above the door on the balcony, while in the first version it was a sticker. Behind it, the same printed 1 by 6 by 5 brick, although in a different color. The castle facade itself is quite similar. The most significant differences are the large window, which no longer has glass and now uses latticework, giving it a more medieval vibe. Some towers no longer have windows, instead featuring a circular column system, something that would also look quite beautiful in the previous color, white. Another obvious detail is the fireworks display. We no longer have cannons that fire colored elements, and we now have two stars with translucent colors held by transparent bars. The set includes two. There is room for two more, but I'm sure we can add more with some imagination. Before moving on to the interiors and all the references to the films, I'll mention two found in the exterior. Both castles allude to the Princess and the Frog theme. In the old version, there are two frogs near the walls guarding a crown, while in the new one, there's only one frog. Brave is also referenced in the first version with a target, the character's bow and arrows, and three cookies, symbolizing her siblings, I believe. Unfortunately, Mary isn't included on this one, but Pocahontas is, with leaves blowing in the wind in one corner of the base, like the music. Also, there's a crown tiara somewhat hidden inside the door tower, possibly an allusion to the fact that Disney has many princesses in its stories. And now the interior and the play area. At least my son spends hours playing there. Starting from the bottom, in both versions, the Grand Hall seems a bit empty, but the new castle seems more detailed. 71040 has a structural flaw for me, as some of its pillars aren't fixed to the floor. Something I tested with the fall my set took. Oops. Beside the two knights, there's a huge grandfather clock, a tall vase with flowers, and a wall with three shields with coat of arms stickers. I don't think these are a specific reference to any movie, but rather to show the castle's splendor with lavish objects. In the center, a beautiful pattern illuminated by a chandelier. The new one may have less elaborate columns, but they are all fixed to the floor. And the set contains four beautiful, enormous mirrored panels, stickers, for each of the princesses: Diana, Cinderella, Snow White, and Rapunzel. In the center, the pattern on the floor isn't as elaborate, but it has a functionality which serves as inspiration for the Beauty and the Beast castle set. With the help of some cogwheels, the floor can be rotated and the romantic couple can dance. Also noteworthy is the chandelier above. On the sides, there's still room for a few Easter eggs. The fountain, bucket, and broom from Fantasia, the anvil on the stone with the sword in the stone movie, and on the walls the chandelier with the fork, the dinglehopper from The Little Mermaid, a sword and a tile with Mushu, Mulan, and a pumpkin, Cinderella almost certainly. This character has another reference at the top of the tower with a transparent 1x2 tile with a glass printed slipper. Further down, the lower floor is practically entirely dedicated to Beauty and the Beast, with a silverware cabinet featuring Chip and Mrs. Potts, the cook transformed into a stove, and a dining room with a table set representing Belle's dinner with the castle staff. And the references to the film don't stop there, as above we have a bookshelf with several books, the library, and of course the rose inside the glass. Next to it we have Aladdin's carpet on the floor with the genie's lamp with blue smoke coming out on a side table, and Moana, or Vaiana in Europe, also makes an appearance with her oar and a tile with a sticker depicting Moe. Still here, one of my favorite details is the box of objects to paint and a balcony with sticker, with dozens of balloons rising into the air at night. Rapunzel, of course. Continuing up, a room with a bed, which according to the instructions reveals itself to be Sleeping Beauty room, although the lavender made me think it was Rapunzel again. Another of my favorite details is the spindle where Sleeping Beauty falls asleep herself, but which hides an area with the magic of Maleficent, of course. Above, Snow White's magic mirror with another sticker. There are also two references not mentioned in the instructions: an apple, likely poison, hidden in the window above Aurora's room, and a tower with several iconic hidden objects, a retro video camera, a Mickey Mouse drawing, and a magical wand in exclusive color, which was a symbol of Disney's 100th anniversary and references many movies throughout the animation company's history, such as the enormous magic arch above the castle that serves as an introduction to all its films. This hidden feature also appears in the previous set, but in this case, it contained a glass slipper in the box, along with a book with a beautiful and exclusive printed cover featuring the castle. Regarding the interiors, there are quite a few similarities. The kitchen is a reference to The Little Mermaid, remember Chef Louis? A section for Beauty and the Beast with a rose and a chandelier, Lumière, Above a chest with a broom, buckets, a book, and a magician's hat, Fantasia. Next to Sleeping Beauty's spinning wheel, as well as her bed. In the tallest tower, Snow White's magic mirror and the poisoned apple, and an excellent reference to Rapunzel, with a pair of scissors and a lock of dark hair stored in a chest. And here are the two sets. I think I've covered everything important about both sets. As alright, the 43222 is still for sale, but is scheduled to be retired at the end of 2025. For Disney fans who don't have the previous set, I think this is a must-have in their collection. After its retirement, I believe its value will skyrocket as the later, or even more, and it will be harder to buy. In fact, just look at the price of the minifigures on Bricklink, even though there's always the risk of them appearing again in other sets. Both sets have excellent elements, with the first set perhaps being easier to use. There's even a beautiful modeler set as an alternative build. But the Sand Blue and Light Nugo in the newest model are increasingly appealing colors. In terms of building experience, the two are very similar, although for me the latter wins visually because of the walls, which are possibly the most annoying part to assemble on both models. One of the reasons I love these sets is that they are an excellent set for display, if we can find a shelf for it, but also great play sets. There are more than 10 references to Disney films and characters found in the castles, spread across several spaces and rooms that can be used for play, especially if we use the other collectible minifigures. The only playing problem is that due to the size and weight, it becomes a somewhat bulky set to maneuver. Both adults and children can get the most out of this set. Children have a castle full of references to the films, where they can play with the many accessories. Adults, especially Disney fans who don't own any of the larger sets, have a representation of one of the most iconic symbols of the Disney world, and in my opinion, the 43222 has several details that are clearly better than the 71040. That being said, I would have preferred to see a representation of the castle from another park, Paris, for example, rather than another Cinderella one. And of course, one or two more character couples would have made this set even better. So, any Disney fans out there? What's your opinion of this set? What's your favorite model out of the two? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss more reviews and speed builds in the upcoming days, with new 2025 releases or even sets that have already been retired. Thank you LEGO and the Land for sending the 43222 Disney Castle for review. All opinions are my own. See you soon, and play well.